Hey guys, I got this 2010 Camry here. This is a 6th gen Camry, and okay, so now that we've got our wheel off, we just want to unclip this piece of plastic here. This is for your ABS sensor. All you do is pull these apart just slightly. It's going to release off of this knuckle. Then we're going to undo this 12mm bolt, and that secures the brake line hose and also your ABS harness bracket as well. I'm going to get those off. I want to remove the caliper and hang that up to the side so it's out of the way, because this knuckle is going to, it may droop down a little bit. And then we need to remove our sway bar link. So go ahead and remove this 12mm bolt, and I might have to heat this one up. It looks very, very rusty, so it may break. Yeah, so clean that up the best that you can. These threads here, if they're any rusty, clean them up the best you can. You'll have a better chance getting them if they're clean. I'm going to use a torch and get some heat into that, but most of you at home that are probably doing this in the driveway don't have access to a torch or heat. So use a pick or something to clean the center of this out. You'll see that inside of there is actually a, I believe it's a hex 6 mil. I'm just gonna find out in a sec here and tell you. And then this nut here, I believe is a 17mm nut. As long as they're factory, that's the size it should be. And these will be the hardest part of changing these struts. So heat, if you have access to heat, will dramatically increase your chances of removing those without them being stubborn. But obviously you want to watch not to use too much heat, because there's a rubber boot on the back side of the joint that could melt away. And also the inside of that joint, there's a nylon cup, and too much heat will also destroy that as well. So as you see, I got this cleaned up with wire brush and a drill, and I'm just going to find out what the size that is on the inside for you, and then I'll put some heat in it. Okay, so you would normally use like a wrench and a hex key. So it is a 6 mil. And then, so what you would do is just put your wrench on like that, and then have like a breaker bar or a ratchet on the on your hex key, and that's going to keep that stud that's coming through from spinning, and allow the nut to come off. Because as soon as you loosen that nut, what's going to happen is that stud's going to start to spin and won't come off. So what I'm going to try to do though is just, like I say, put some heat in it, and I'm actually just put my impact gun on there, and hopefully we can get it off. Okay, so just like that, piece of cake, we got that off now. We do not have to take the bottom off. We just leave that on there like so. And then, like I say, I might actually just leave these on. I want to see, this whole knuckle assembly is going to want to come out a little bit, but we have some slack with these undone, so I think I'm just going to leave them for now and see if that is okay. But we need a 22mm. I believe it's 22 on both sides. Okay, 22 on that side and 22 on that side. Perfect. So I'm gonna use impact gun on these two nuts and I'm gonna hold them with the wrench. Okay, so these bolts, some of them, if they're from the factory, they'll just be regular bolts, but sometimes people will have installed an eccentric bolt. So it's completely up to you whether you want to mark the bolts with like a paint pen or something before you take them out, because if it does have an eccentric bolt and you don't know which way it goes in, your alignment's going to be weird when you go to put it back in. But regardless, you should probably get an alignment done after you change your shocks anyways. So we are now going to just separate these. That's all you do is just wiggle it back and forth. You can see all the rust and dirt and stuff like that that's collected on the knuckle and the strut. So yeah, just wiggle them back and forth. And then, like, I guess we have lots of room there. So now we can take this thing out. I'm just gonna lower it down a little bit and we can just unscrew that last nut. And then our strut can come right out. All right, so now we can go ahead and remove this last one. Of course, it's seized on there. Let's try that again. So just make sure that you don't drop the strut into the boot, your axle boot. I've seen it happen. I haven't done it myself, but that's bad. Don't want to do that. So we got it out. Now you just take your new strut. Link in the description below if you want some of these. And you take the nuts that come on it, take those off. Not the center one, leave the center one. The B sticker probably says spring under pressure. And they are different from left to right. And you'll see, remember when we took the sway bar link off, we want that tab to be facing towards the back of the car so the link matches up and not the other way around. So we'll go ahead and we'll just stick this up in here. And all you got to do is just start the nut, just like so, and then you can let it hang. And now we're ready to start the reinstallation process, which is exactly just what we've done to take it apart. So it would be put the knuckle on, 2 bolts, sway bar link, and then the 12mm bolt for your ABS harness and your brake line, and then get the wheel on, put the other 2 nuts on, tighten those down. So all I'm doing here is just cleaning all this strut off of the knuckle here so that it slides in nice into the strut. A lot of dirt and rust builds up. Yours may be like that, or yours might be clean. So you want it to be clean so it slides in nice. We don't want to have to jam the thing in there. We get our bolts started here, just like so. I can't remember exactly how tight these go. I feel there's something like 180 or 200 something foot-pounds. I can't remember. Just gonna put them on tight. Oh, one more thing that you might want to pay attention to is this harness. We want that to go over the knuckle and make sure it's not down behind the knuckle. That's important. Whoops, I got butterfingers today. So I'm just gonna stick this back in. I'm gonna spray a little bit of lube on there. And then we can get this these brake harness and line back on. Oops, so it goes ABS harness first. Put that in like so. Then we put our brake line over top like that. And we start our bolt there, just like so. I got the wrong side socket on there. Okay, now we're just gonna clip this thing on. There's two little holes in the side of the bottom of the strut, just like so. And last thing we need to get on here before we can get our wheel on is the nut for the sway bar itself. Perfect. Now we can just double check, make sure everything's looking good, nothing's in the way, everything looks right, and we'll go ahead and get our wheel on. One thing, if you have aluminum wheels, you need those Toyota nuts that have the washer on them. Don't use those wheel nuts on steel wheels. They will not enough of the taper on them, they will punch through the rim. I've seen it happen many times. So if you're using those style of nuts on steel wheels, switch to an acorn style. If you don't know what that looks like, Google it. Nice. I love when aftermarket parts supply you with different size nuts and bolts than what comes on them with the factory. Okay, so those should be 14s, but they're obviously 15s now, so. I don't exactly know the torque spec for these either, but just snug. They don't have to be super, super tight, guys. I've seen those studs get broken off, especially using impact guns. I'll be honest with you, I was an apprentice. I did that myself, and I learned my lesson, never to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Those three are tight. The other side's exactly the same. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.